It is 4:09 a.m. The Western Pacific Ocean, 520 nautical miles east of Shanghai, in deep water that carries no shipping lanes at this hour and no commercial traffic within 80 nautical miles in any direction. The ocean here is 4,200 meters deep. The sky is clear, cold by tropical standards, 14 degrees Celsius at altitude, with a sharp quarter moon that throws enough light to silver the wave tops without illuminating anything useful on the surface below. The sea state is 3. Swells of 1.5 meters from the northwest, regular and long. Wind at 17 knots. Conditions that any sailor would describe as unremarkable and any air defense officer would describe as optimal. Clear sky, good radar propagation, no atmospheric ducting to complicate the sensor picture. Everything happening in the airspace above this patch of ocean tonight will be seen clearly by every system designed to see it. USS Nimitz, CVN-68, has been operating in this area for 31 hours, conducting what her operational tasking orders describe as a freedom of navigation and theater presence mission in international waters of the Western Pacific. She is accompanied by a full carrier strike group, 2 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers in the inner screen, 1 Ticonderoga-class cruiser to the north, USS Shiloh, CG-67, and a 2nd destroyer, USS Benfold, DDG-65, operating 28 nautical miles to the northwest on an independent tasking that is, in fact, not entirely independent. Benfold is there because the geometry places her in the optimal position for a specific mission that nobody aboard her has been explicitly told about, but that her commanding officer has inferred from the ballistic missile defense briefing he received 11 hours ago. He is a sharp officer. He does not need to be told everything to understand what he is being positioned for. The People's Liberation Army Rocket Force has been watching USS Nimitz for 19 hours. This is not a figure of speech. The PLA's surveillance architecture in the Western Pacific, a layered network of maritime patrol aircraft, space-based optical and radar satellites, over-the-horizon radar systems operating from the Chinese coast, and a network of surface and subsurface passive sensors spread across the region over decades of patient installation, has been tracking the carrier strike group continuously since it entered the PLA Rocket Force's primary engagement zone. The carrier's position has been updated every 11 minutes on average by one system or another. The targeting database contains not just the carrier's current position, but a predictive model of her movement based on her speed, her operational patterns, her flight operations tempo, that allows the fire control system to project her position forward in time and calculate the intercept geometry for a weapon launched from the Chinese coast. The weapon that the PLA Rocket Force has chosen for tonight's operation is not the DF-21D. The DF-21D is a known quantity. American missile defense planners have studied it, built against it, tested SM-3 intercept timelines against its flight profile, and spent the better part of a decade refining the engagement architecture designed to defeat it in the mid-course phase. The PLA Rocket Force knows this. They have watched American BMD development with the same patient attention that American intelligence has applied to their own weapons programs. They know the SM-3 Block 2A's intercept altitude capability. They know the SBIRS detection timeline. They know the mid-course intercept window and the geometry that makes it work. And they have spent 10 years building a weapon specifically designed to operate in the space that the SM-3's mid-course engagement model cannot comfortably reach. The weapon is the DF-17, the Dongfeng 17, NATO designation CSS-22, publicly displayed at China's 71st anniversary military parade in October 2019, the first hypersonic glide vehicle in the world to be publicly acknowledged as an operational weapon system. The DF-17 is not a ballistic missile with a maneuvering re-entry vehicle added as a terminal enhancement. It is a fundamentally different architecture, a solid-fueled booster stage that accelerates the payload to hypersonic speed and lofts it to an altitude of approximately 60 kilometers, at which point the boost phase ends and the HGV, the hypersonic glide vehicle, separates and begins a sustained atmospheric glide trajectory toward its target. The DF-17 does not follow a ballistic arc. It does not rise to the exoatmospheric altitudes where the SM-3 Block 2A is designed to intercept. It skims the upper atmosphere at altitudes between 40 and 80 kilometers, maneuvering continuously, bleeding speed into lift, trading velocity for the ability to change course, to jink, to follow an approach vector that is not predictable from the launch parameters. This is the problem the DF-17 creates for ballistic missile defense systems built around the SM-3 concept. The SM-3 intercepts in the mid-course phase, above 100 kilometers, where a ballistic missile is following a predictable Keplerian trajectory that allows the fire control system to project the intercept point with high confidence. The DF-17 does not go above 100 kilometers. It stays below 80 kilometers in the upper atmosphere, where aerodynamic forces allow it to maneuver and where the SM-3's engagement geometry becomes geometrically uncomfortable. The SM-3 is a kinetic kill vehicle optimized for exoatmospheric intercept. Inside the atmosphere, the physics of the engagement change. The interceptor's own aerodynamic performance is affected. The target's maneuvering is harder to predict. The engagement window narrows. American missile defense planners have known about this gap since approximately 2014, when classified intelligence assessments began reflecting a clear PLA research and development trajectory toward exactly this capability. They have not been idle, but building a new interceptor, one optimized for the hypersonic glide vehicle threat in the 40 to 80 kilometer altitude band, takes time, money, testing, and manufacturing scale that does not appear overnight, regardless of how much strategic urgency the requirement carries. The SM-6 has been adapted and tested in a terminal defense mode against HGV target vehicles. The results of those tests are classified. The general assessment available in open-source reporting is that SM-6 terminal defense against HGV-class targets is possible, but demanding, requiring precise tracking data, favorable engagement geometry, and a fire control solution updated at rates that stress the current Aegis software architecture. The PLA Rocket Force planners, reviewing their threat assessment of American BMD capability against the DF-17, concluded that the SM-6 terminal defense capability represents the primary intercept threat to their weapon. They also concluded, and this conclusion is the foundation of tonight's operation, that the SM-6 terminal defense engagement window against a DF-17 approaching at Mach 10 and maneuvering is narrow enough that saturation of the engagement capacity is achievable with a salvo of sufficient size. Not one DF-17. not 2. 4. Launched in a carefully sequenced pattern, designed to arrive in the target area from slightly different approach angles within a compressed time window, forcing the Aegis fire control systems aboard multiple ships to manage simultaneous terminal engagements against maneuvering hypersonic targets. 4. DF-17-2S, approaching from 4 slightly different vectors, arriving within approximately 40 seconds of each other, against a carrier strike group whose primary HGV defense asset, the SM-3 in terminal defense mode, has a realistic simultaneous engagement capacity that the PLA planners have estimated, based on available intelligence, at somewhere between 3 and 5 targets. It is a plan built on a real capability gap. The gap exists. The SM-3 terminal defense window against a maneuvering HGV is genuinely narrower than the SM-3 mid-course window against a ballistic missile. The saturation logic is sound. The 4-missile salvo is not arbitrary. It is sized to the estimated engagement capacity limit with a margin that gives the planners confidence that at least one weapon will penetrate. There are 3 things the PLA planners do not know tonight. The first is that the SBIRS satellite constellation detected the thermal signature of the DF-17 transporter erector launchers, activating their pre-launch hydraulic systems at 3:41 a.m., 28 minutes before the first missile ignites. The signal was faint, inconsistent with a definitive launch warning, but sufficient to trigger a pre-launch alert that put every Aegis ship in the strike group into BMD standby at 3:44 a.m. When the DF-17 boosters lit at 4:09 a.m., the fire control teams aboard USS Shiloh, USS Benfold, and USS Nimitz's 2 inter-screen destroyers were already at their BMD battle stations. The second thing the planners do not know is that USS Benfold's position 28 nautical miles to the northwest was chosen specifically to give her SM-3 missiles a geometry advantage against DF-17 approach vectors originating from the Chinese coast. Benfold's position gives her a lateral intercept angle on the HGVs. She is not directly behind the carrier in the missile's approach path, but offset to the side, which improves the angular tracking rate her fire control radar can maintain on a fast-moving, maneuvering target. This matters. A fire control radar tracking a target moving at Mach 10 directly toward it has a much lower angular rate to track than one tracking the same target on a crossing geometry. Lower angular rate means more stable tracking. More stable tracking means better fire control solution. Better fire control solution means higher probability of kill. Benfold's position was not random. It was calculated by people who have spent years thinking about exactly this problem, and they placed her where the physics said she needed to be. The third thing the PLA planners do not know is that a classified upgrade to the Aegis combat system software, installed fleet-wide in 2024 during a scheduled maintenance cycle that attracted no particular press attention, improved the SM-3 terminal defense engagement capacity against maneuvering hypersonic targets by a margin that remains classified, but that the fire control team aboard USS Shiloh knows about because they ran the updated simulation profiles 3 weeks ago and found the results satisfying. At 4:09:17 a.m., SBIRS detected 4 simultaneous ignition signatures from a launch area in Fujian Province, China. 4 DF-17 boosters lit within 2.3 seconds of each other. A launch sequencing designed to ensure simultaneous HGV arrival on target despite any small differences in launch timing. The SBIRS data was in the Aegis networks aboard all 4 BMD-capable ships within 8 seconds of ignition. The fire control systems began building mid-course tracks on all 4 missiles within 14 seconds. The boost phase of the DF-17 lasts approximately 120 seconds. During those 120 seconds, each missile accelerates its HGV payload to approximately Mach 10 and lofts it to approximately 60 kilometers altitude before booster burnout and HGV separation. During the boost phase, the HGV is following a predictable, trackable trajectory. It is not yet maneuvering. This is the window, the brief window, during which the fire control solution is cleanest and the intercept geometry is most favorable. USS Shiloh fired 2 SM-6 missiles at 4:10:44 a.m., 87 seconds after ignition, 33 seconds before booster burnout on the DF-17S. The SM-6 in terminal defense mode does not wait for the HGV to separate and begin maneuvering. It fires early during the boost phase and uses its own active radar seeker to update its guidance solution continuously as the target transitions from boost to glide. This is the upgraded engagement concept. Shoot early, track through the transition, engage the HGV in the early glide phase before it has descended to the altitudes where maximum maneuvering performance is available. USS Benfold fired 2 SM-6 missiles at 4:10:51 a.m., 7 seconds after Shiloh. The 4 SM-6, 2 from each ship, climbed toward the 4 inbound DF-17 HGVs on intercept vectors calculated by fire control computers, processing tracking data from both ships' AN/S, P, Y, 1D radars simultaneously and cross-corroborating with the E-2D Hawkeye's independent radar picture, transmitted via Link 16. The DF-17 HGVs separated from their boosters at approximately 4:11:37 a.m. and began their glide trajectories. Each HGV immediately began maneuvering. The lateral jinking, the altitude oscillations, the heading variations that the DF-17's aerodynamic control surfaces allow at 60 kilometers altitude and Mach 10. The maneuvering was real, and it was aggressive. The HGVs were not flying straight. They were doing what they were designed to do. But the SM-6s had been fired 53 seconds before HGV separation. They were already in the air, already closing, their active radar seekers already tracking the boost phase heat signature and transitioning to the HGV's own radar cross-section as the booster fell away. The first SM-6, fired by Shiloh, intercepted the lead DF-17 HGV at 4:12:31 a.m. at an altitude of 51 kilometers and a range of 310 nautical miles from USS Nimitz. The intercept was confirmed by SBIRS thermal detection of the fragmentation event. The second SM-6, fired by Shiloh, intercepted the second DF-17 at 4:12:44 a.m. Altitude 48 kilometers, 287 nautical miles from the carrier. The 2 SM-6 fired by Benfold engaged the third and fourth DF-17 HGVs in sequence. The third intercept occurred at 4:12:58 a.m. The fourth, the most challenging engagement, against the HGV that had executed the most aggressive lateral jinking during its glide phase, required the SM-6 to update its intercept solution 3 times in the final 11 seconds of the engagement before achieving intercept at 4:13:19 a.m. at an altitude of 44 kilometers. The HGV had descended lower, had more aerodynamic authority, and had maneuvered more aggressively than the first three. The SM-6's seeker had tracked it through 4 course changes. The intercept was clean. 4 DF-17 HGVs, 4 SM-6 intercepts, all in the early glide phase, before the HGVs had descended below 40 kilometers, where their maneuvering performance is maximum. Total engagement timeline from first launch detection to final intercept, 4 minutes and 2 seconds. In the CIC aboard USS Nimitz, the strike group commander watched the 4 intercept confirmations appear on his display in sequence. His expression, as described by the watch officer standing 4 feet away, did not change between the first confirmation and the 4th. He picked up his coffee. He looked at the tactical picture. 4 debris symbols at high altitude, dispersing northwest of the carrier's position. The carrier herself steady on course and speed. The escort formation intact. He looked at the intelligence officer. "What's the PLA's post-launch emission picture?" he asked. "Launch facility communications spiked immediately post-launch, sir, then went to emission control. We're assessing battle damage assessment collection mode. They'll be looking for impact data. They won't find any." He set his coffee down. "Get me the full engagement record packaged for transmission to Indopacom. And tell the air boss the flight deck is clear to resume the launch cycle." The launch cycle had been held for 14 minutes during the engagement. It resumed at 4:23 a.m. 2 FA-18Fs came off the catapults into the dark western Pacific sky and climbed toward their assigned combat air patrol stations. Below them, on the flight deck, the next cycle was already being spotted. The DF-17 is China's most advanced operationally deployed hypersonic weapon. It is the product of a sustained, well-funded, technically serious development program that identified a genuine gap in American ballistic missile defense architecture and built a weapon designed to exploit it. The gap is real. The 40 to 80 kilometer altitude band is genuinely more difficult to defend against than the exoatmospheric mid-course phase where the SM-3 operates. The DF-17's maneuvering capability at those altitudes is genuinely more complex than the predictable ballistic arc of a conventional MRBM. Chinese engineers have solved hard problems to build this weapon, and they should be credited with the technical achievement it represents. The problem with the DF-17's design concept is the same problem that always attends weapons built to exploit a specific gap in a specific defensive architecture. The defensive architecture is not static. The people defending against the DF-17 have had years to study its flight profile, refine their tracking algorithms, upgrade their fire control software, and position their intercept assets in the geometries that maximize their probability of kill. The SM-6 upgrade installed in 2024 was not developed in response to the DF-17's existence. It was developed in response to the DF-17's known performance parameters. There is a difference. One is reactive. The other is anticipatory. The United States chose anticipatory, and tonight the distinction expressed itself as 4 intercepts in 4 minutes against China's most advanced hypersonic weapon. The PLA Rocket Force will study this engagement. They will update their performance models. They will modify their approach. This is how great power military competition works. The technology advances, the countermeasures advance, the weapons advance again. The cycle does not end. What the cycle produces in the near term is a Western Pacific, where the PLA's most sophisticated strike capability against American carrier groups has been engaged, evaluated, and defeated by a defensive architecture that the Americans had years to build, and the Chinese had years to try to outdesign. USS Nimitz continued her transit. Her air wing flew. Her crew ate breakfast. The Western Pacific was quiet, the way the Western Pacific always is after something decisive happens in it, because the ocean does not mark the events that occur above it with anything more permanent than a brief disturbance in the water, quickly smoothed by the next swell. 4 DF-17S, 4 SM-6 intercepts. The carrier sailed on. Bye for now.